Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself, Suprit, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for November. What's the date?
Wait, it was November 10th.
Are you sure it was November 10th?
Yes, because today, while we are recording this, it's 12th.
Okay, then November 10th, 2021. This was the Go Home Show edition of Dynamite as we, this week, this is full gear weekend.
Yes,
If I'm
it
not
is.
wrong.
Yes, it is the full gear weekend.
So this show, man, this Dynamite show was really solid. Like the wrestling was top notch, and really excited for full game. What did you think about it?
Man, I'm so like we all are in full gear to the main event, to the main show, and the build has been top notch. And as far as the show is concerned, it was a very wrestling heavy show, which is like pretty good. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the show like more than ever. The hype has been unreal, especially with the main event and all the other matches associated. So yeah, should be good.
We'll talk about the entirety of this show, but before that, if you are new to Slam of Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check out all other content. Links provided in the description below. But they started off Dynamite with Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero. And if I'm not wrong, there is some history between the two. Can you elaborate on what the history is actually?
So I mean, as per what the commentators used to say, like both Bryan and Romero had trained in the LA dojo of New Japan, and besides that, like they had competed. They had like a history between one another, competing through various independent ranks in US, especially PWG, where they were like staple names. And they had also said that while these two guys had faced each other during the best of the American Super Juniors in New Japan, Danielson had won versus Romero, while the year after, both Romero and Bryan had faced in at some indie event, I guess, I'm not sure. And Romero had won, but not by himself, by another moniker of Tiger Mask, Black Tiger, I think.
I
I
think
might have confused, but it could be either Tiger Mask or Black Tiger.
it is Black Tiger. It is a spin-off version of Tiger Mask, I guess.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero was Black Tiger once upon a time.
Yeah, so technically that makes him the second ever Black Tiger. I'm talking about Rocky
Second
and
or
Romero.
third. Yeah, second or third probably.
But that's the history part. We heard more news, and that is Best Friends and Orange Cassidy are now members of the Chaos faction. That is New Japan's premier faction run by Kazuchika Okada. So they are the bunch of new members here. So what do you think this is actually leading towards?
Well, there is like a small bit of history as it is for Best Friends in Chaos as like the Best Friends tag team, which was Chucky T and Trent. They were already part of the Chaos faction, and before Best Friends were a thing, more or so like in Japan, um, Trent and Rocky Romero were a tag team called Roppongi Vice. So that's like a good continuity of the story, and it's like the Best Friends never left faction, because it's like how Lance Archer was still part of Suzuki Gun after he signed for AEW, and AEW in New Japan weren't working. So this was pretty much the same deal, and with bonus you get Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander, and now Wheeler Yuta, who are also part of the faction, which is cute. And you never thought that you would see a day where both the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada and Orange Cassidy would be in the same stable. Hell, Orange Cassidy and Toru Yano are in the same stable. So imagine the eruption.
This is some insane thing to me, but all things are pointing towards the Rainmaker coming to AEW
Yes, and
in just a couple of weeks.
they've been openly teasing that on the show as well, because you wouldn't actively name drop him unless you're going to do something. Like Ishii, excuse me, yeah. They even mentioned Ishii a lot of times, so probably we might get to see Stone Pitbull in AEW as well. And once if he comes to AEW, then I so badly want him to face both Bryan and Miro a week after the other.
And coincidentally, both men are actually, I'm talking about Okada and Ishii, are in the States, and they'll be having their own, pay-per-view commitment, not Full Gear actually. It's Battle of the Valley New
Battle of
Japan
the
show
Valley.
here in the States. It's
Yes,
happening on the same day as
Full
Full
Gear.
Gear is taking place.
Yes, and just to point out, Okada is facing Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy in WWE, which should be a great match. It's like the bastardized version of Okada and Omega, because Buddy Murphy has like most of his moveset is from Kenny Omega. And I don't know who Ishii is facing. Is it Moose or did that happen already?
I think Ishii is facing Switchblade Jay White for the Never Open
Never
Weight
open
Championship.
weight. And if Ishii loses, he'll never get a championship
Yeah,
again. All
that is
right.
something.
Should be
But
good.
yeah, like we said, there is a chance we see those guys over here in AEW and having these dream matches should be good. But what did you think about this match, man? Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero. I thought it was pretty solid. Like always, Bryan Danielson just kills it in the ring. Rocky Romero has proven to be a good enough wrestler, and I thought it was a good wrestling match.
Yes, it was a very good. It was like a pure wrestling match, and Bryan Danielson has been killing it since he's joined AEW. Like he's wrestled almost every week on the show, which is good to see. Like be it Rampage or Dynamite, he's been like a constant presence on either show, and I like how the story that they've told. Like Bryan was trying to prepare for his match with Miro, and the commentators were like, "Is he sane enough to take this match just few days before he's facing a monster of a man like Miro, which is putting Miro over as well." And like they were telling a story of how like they know each other for so long, and then Romero was going for his old tricks, like he was trying to lock in the cross arm break of the Juji Katami, and Bryan had like a counter for each and every move that Romero was doing. So also shows the technical wizard of Bryan Danielson, which is, as we know, like there is not enough words to be said about Bryan Danielson, the wrestler, and we are getting to watch this in a weekly format, which is awesome. And yeah.
So I think Danielson got the win with the what do you call it?
Single leg Boston Crab.
I thought he was going for the label lock, but he turned out to use another finisher, which is a story that is going on for weeks now.
Yes, he's been like almost every like different match. Yeah, almost every match that he's won has been with a different submission or a different finish entirely, which also shows like the type of wrestler Bryan Danielson is. Like he defeated Suzuki with a Busai Kuni, then he defeated Dustin with the guillotine choke, and like he's been winning his other matches against like these low card talent, like I was gonna say Bivens, Anthony Bowens with Label Lock, and now yesterday with Rocky Romero with the single leg Boston Crab. So that's also a story that they've been telling us, and yeah.
And
So,
I like the fact that Rocky Romero came out to Roppongi Vice team
yes,
because all of his themes that he, by the way, he does all his own themes. He produced by like he's a rap artist, musician himself. So he basically created all these themes. And all those theme songs he creates are pretty dope, but I like this one a little bit, I guess.
Yes, even the Roppongi 3K song that he did for Show Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu while he was managing them, that theme was also pretty solid.
Anyways, man, really good match, and I like this story of Orange Cassidy and the best friends getting in the Chaos faction. So there you go, man. But what did we have next on this show?
So a we had a inner circle town hall segment slash promo as often that they do, but instead of having a promo, it was more of a beatdown segment by the American top team, which was like something fresh because like in the inner circle town hall segments had gotten so repetitive that it became a meme of its own. Like every time, I think it was during the Jericho MJF feud, while MJF was still part of the inner circle, they used to do these segments every single week. And then there is like some variation of it or the other. Like there is Jericho, the war. They had the thing, right? When before the War Games match that they had, it was something called War Council or something. And then
Yes.
Jericho has a debate, and then there's a press conference, and then Inner Circle says goodbye. So it became a meme of its own. So it's like an
Is it the Chris Jericho or Inner Circle thing that became a meme, or was it Eddie Kingston? Because I think Eddie Kingston had this one graphic where it said Eddie Kingston
it's
tonight addresses his
addresses
enemies.
someone put a Tony Khan's picture on it. So Tony Khan addresses enemies whenever, yeah. But yeah, this
By the way,
was
Tony
the
Khan, did you hear that media call for full year?
I went through it like bits and pieces, and I heard like he didn't have like people didn't have a good enough impression of him talking about women's wrestling.
I think he interrupted, like someone asked about, the current state of women's wrestling over in AEW, and also compared it to other promotions, like other promotions are doing all women's kind of pay-per-view, and then he interrupted this said journalist and said that he actually, like when this NWA thing was happening with the
Empower.
women's pay-per-view, he actually sent his talent and he actually paid them. He paid extra for these talents who were performing in these NWA shows, and they were one of the most highest paid wrestlers on that card, something like that. And he was kind of disappointed that NWA didn't give a lot of credit to Tony Khan.
Hmm. I mean, I don't have any comments on that, so I'll just leave it at that.
But anyways, man, I don't think you could be much critical about the women's division. I think it's a slow process. It's growing,
Yes, they've
and
like
it's
put in a lot more efforts into improving it, so that says something. But even though like they were hit by the pandemic, and of course like while they were trying to build a name of themselves, and of course it was going to be a long journey, and there were always hindrances with the women's division, be it like physically in terms of injuries or the pandemic or whatever may have you. But he's put in some effort to at least make it mean something. So I think that speaks a lot. Like I'm not defending Tony Khan here, but that's what I'll say about the women's division.
but we are talking about the inner circle. They were about to have this segment, but they are attacked midway through their entrance by American Top Team and Men of the Year. And I have to say, man, this American Top Team, the MMA fighters, it is something to watch them have a brawl.
Yeah, the other guy, I forgot his name, Dalton Roaster or something. He was just like casually punching Jericho at like not casually, it's like the softly. He's just doing this. He's like, this is Jericho's hand, and this is just doing,
Yeah, basically they can't throw worked punches. They don't know how to do that.
which is pretty weird. This is like one example that I had with Ronda Rousey. Like she could sell punches super because she has been punched in the face so many times, and she was like she I really like Ronda Rousey's time as a pro wrestler, but coming back to this, yeah, I mean they can't throw work punches for shit. The American top team, that is, and it took a while until this really went somewhere, because the brawl on the stage slash entrance ramp wasn't that good until that Dan Lambert. Uh, so the man of the year, like, they beat up Jericho and they produce a table into the ring, and they set the table up, and Dan Lambert is standing on the top turnbuckle, and they hand Jericho to Dan Lambert to give him a powerbomb onto the table. And then after that, Ethan Page cuts a promo saying that this is what the men of the year are willing to do for the American top team and Dan Lambert. And he was like, Dan Lambert at Full Gear, we'll make sure that Dan Lambert pins Chris Jericho. But for today, we'll try to make sure that Dan Lambert submits Chris Jericho. So Dan Lambert locks Chris Jericho into the walls of Jericho, and then Ethan Page cuts a promo. He's like, "Hey Dan, tell him how you feel." And then Dan is like, "You stupid idiot! It's a Boston Crab." Then he was just giving the history of the move, like in 1975 Championship Wrestling from
Championship
Florida.
wrestling.
Yeah, Championship Wrestling from Florida, and he gave the wrestler's name. I don't remember at this point, and that's the end of this segment. And he's just flexing with the American top team, which was hilarious. All in all, I mean, as the brawl itself wasn't that great, but the Dan Lambert part was amazing. What did you think about it?
Yeah, like Dan Lambert still is a hit and miss,
Mhm.
but at least he gets heat.
Yes, and like with him, it's weird. Like I had mentioned before, like when he cuts the promos or when he does something, if it's really good, it goes up. But when he does the same thing over and over again, then it's just like a just stays stagnant. So you don't really get interested.
Yeah, but the people still manage to hate his guts.
I mean, there are more reasons why, which I won't get into after. I mean, that's beyond pro wrestling. So
Oh. But anyways, hey, did you notice that part where, like I said, these MMA fighters don't know how to throw a work punch. They didn't even know what to do in this segment because they don't know how to have a brawl or something like that. There was this part where Junior Dos Santos was actually being ordered what to do by Scorpio Sky. Did you see that?
this was while he was throwing a punch to Sammy Guevara, right, on the ribs, and he had
Yeah.
some kendo stick as well.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't really
But
address the kendo stick, so probably that's going to be a feature in the match.
yeah, that's what you're gonna expect in the Minneapolis street fight.
Yeah, are you excited for this match though?
Absolutely not, man. It's a match that's just on the card.
Yeah, just for the buzz.
Yeah, I think like Abby says, it's just to get the big names on the card.
Yes, and it's like a possible involvement of Jorge Masvidal. Since it's a street fight, there are no rules, so Masvidal can get involved and punch Jericho out, and also Paige Van Zandt. So that is probably like a way for her and for Masvidal to transition into pro wrestling, because I think it was on Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert and Masvidal, they appeared on a podcast and they said that they were thoroughly enjoying AEW. And for Masvidal, he was like, after his next few fights, he wants to move to pro wrestling. So call it what you want.
Uh, let's see, man. Let's see. Let's see if these guys can pull off a Ronda Rousey.
Let's see.
Hey, imagine a Ronda Rousey Page Van Zandt wrestling match.
I mean, would be a good one. I'm not sure about Paige Van Zandt as a wrestler yet, because I mean she hasn't done so. She's an MMA fighter, and like I've mentioned, her fighting career isn't going that well. And I used to watch a lot of MMA back then, but now it's slowed down. So I asked my friends who watch MMA, how good is she? They're like, she's not that great as a fighter, and her husband is even worse, which is saying something. So
Hmm.
yeah.
At least she has some name. Well,
She does, but with that is not related to mixed martial arts. Just funny.
anyways, man, we talked about our thoughts on this feud. It's just there on the card. I hope we get the payoff, man. Like I predicted, I want Hasbullah to walk out on the stage and punch someone in the face.
Yeah, I would love if Hasbullah beats the shit out of Chris Jericho, and that's for shoot.
You want a swerve?
Yes.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But moving on, we had a trios match. This is involving the women's. We had Doctor Britt Baker, DMD. She was teaming up with Jamie Hayter and Rebel. So they're facing Anna Jay, Thunder Rosa, and Ty Conti. It's basically, you could say, this match came about because technically all women in this match are involved in their respective feuds. Like we have Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter. They will be having a
TBS
match in
title
their
match.
TBS. Yes,
Mhm.
TBS Championship Tournament. Ty Conti, Britt Baker, they are having the women's championship match at the pay-per-view. And this match turned out to be good, man. Crowd were involved, and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, if the only good, I mean, I'm being overly critical about this. Like the crowd involvement was what made the match really good, but as a match by itself, it was a pretty botchy one because like they kept forgetting their spots, and there were like very various instances where they could have improvised on a lot of spots. Like for example, when both Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker were beating up Ty Conti in a 2-on-1 assault, the baby faces were just standing there at the uh, in their tag corners. And then when Ty was trying to, set everyone up on the corner for her pump kicks, Britt was just standing there, and then she just casually walks to the other turnbuckle. So yeah, there are like it was a very botch-filled match, but I'm not gonna hold it against them. Thunder Rosa looked superb as she always is. I mean, I love Thunder Rosa. That I haven't said it enough on this podcast, and I thought she was like the best worker in this match. She like really shone through, and of course, Ty Conti in her build up to the match versus Baker. So all in all, I think the crowd involvement, the crowd was super hot into it, and they were enjoying every moment of it, which is to be expected from a wrestling match. And of course, like when the crowd is so heavily involved into the match, that is what makes a match, grow in value. So yeah, all in all, I
So
felt that this match was good, but mostly because of the crowd and less because of the spots. But I'm not gonna criticize them further. And yeah, all of it was a great it was a great match as it is.
what was the finish of this match again?
It was Ty Conti hitting Rebel with a Thai DT because Baker was trying to distract the ref, but then she just casually walks away. And I think it was Tony Schiavone or Excalibur saying that she made a calculated business decision because she doesn't want to get beat up before the women's title match. So I thought that was a bit hilarious. And yeah, there you go. That was the finish to the match.
Yeah, nothing much to say. Really good match. I think this is a trend here. Like every match on this Dynamite card, like it delivered, I guess, on a wrestling
Yeah,
standpoint.
you could say that. And yeah, it was great.
But what did we have next on this show?
So just one moment. It is, yeah, we had just after this we had look at the just juxtaposition here. We had Jungle Boy versus Anthony Bowens, and obviously we had Max Caster talk shit about Jungle Boy and his relationship with Anna Jay just to look edgy. And yeah, that
Brutal, man.
was
That was brutal.
yeah, it was a sick burn, but I felt it was unnecessary. But that's just me. But like,
At least,
yeah,
Tony Khan approved it. We have no word to say about that. He
true.
approved it. If it's fine for him, then it's fine for us as well.
yeah. You like what I tell you to like.
Yeah,
Speaking
it's
of
not getting cancelled anymore.
speaking of which, Max Caster's rap on Bryan Danielson this past Friday on Rampage. Man, oh man, that was some level of destruction.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving dinner at the Danielson household will be strange.
Yes. And like it wasn't even that long after, the releases. And it was like a very fresh topic at that time, and Max Caster just went hell for leather on that, which was very funny. And I loved how both Taz and Excalibur were cracking at it. It was like Taz lost his shit, and Excalibur was often like stoic. Even he was like, nah, fuck, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Yo, everyone loves the Acclaim.
Yeah, and speaking of everyone loves the acclaimed while they were doing the taunt, I loved how Jungle Boy kept asking them about that, like the taunt that they do.
Yeah,
I'm
what
not
is
gonna,
that?
yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna explain any further on this podcast since it's a PG show, but let it be.
But the story here is that we are getting a more aggressive Jungle Boy thanks to everything that's going on between him and his gang and the Super Click. So we saw some highlights of that in this match. It's really going hard on Anthony Bowens. Anthony Bowens is a really good talent, I could say. Like he could hang in with the great wrestlers. Like he had a decent enough match with Danielson, another decent match here with Jungle Boy. So good for him.
Yeah, the five tool player as he calls himself. And he's gotten a lot of singles opportunities by himself, especially when Max Caster was in trouble for his rap before. And whenever he's put into these matches, he's looked pretty strong, and he's also an up and coming talent, who's just slowly progressing through the ranks, which is good to see. And it's always good, like, even when like there's a talented wrestler, a tag team wrestler who gets singles opportunities and he gets to shine through. So it worked in that sense, and I feel that they're building Bones for something, for some opportunity or the other. Like, if you remember when Bowens was injured, Max Caster had these solo opportunities and he was being used very regularly. And
Uh,
at the same time, like, he was also part of that ladder match on at Revolution, for the field for the TNT Championship with the Sonic ring on top.
yeah, that's that rap on that particular match he did. That was the, you could say, that's when the Acclaimed and Max Caster started hitting a peak.
Yes, and like even before that, when they were doing this rap versus the Young Bucks before the tag match or something, before the tag title match, I should say, and he mentioned John Cena on AEW TV. So I think that's when everyone started to notice how great the Acclaimed were, and it just kept rising, the stock, that is. And I think their peak was probably when when Max Caster did a rap on Double or Nothing, and he was talking about Christian Cage. He's like, he used to be cool when he really had an edge, and then Christian's like, what the fuck's he saying? And I think, yeah, he was like, he said Dustin's knee or something like that. But I thought that was their peak, and after that they didn't really do much. And beyond that, like, they had the troublesome rap, and after that, here we are.
The thing with the Double or Nothing bit was not the rap, the fact that this guy got one of the biggest reactions of the night on
Yeah,
Double or Nothing. There
everyone
you go,
loves the
man.
Acclaimed.
Acclaimed are great.
Yeah, they really are. But
So
coming back to this match, I thought it was, like we mentioned, it was a decent enough match as well. Like, they were showing more aggressive side to Jungle Boy since he hasn't shaved his beard, so he's looking rugged and aggressive. And the Young Bucks, it's also a character development for Jungle Boy. He's like his happy-go-lucky self every week, and the fans love him. But now he's just showing a more aggressive side, like how when the push comes to shove, how aggressive he can be.
Is it character development or is he following no shave November?
Probably that. I mean, I can't say for myself here, but that's also probably a thing.
And
So
by the way, were you watching the show on the fight feed?
yes, I was watching on Fight.
Did you notice that one spot where they were fighting on the outside? Anthony Bowens really
I
got
know.
into some fan's face.
Yeah, the fan was flipping Bowens off, and Bowens was like, "Hey." Then they got into a heated argument, and then like the security and Aubrey had to come and like hold Bowens back, and then Caster was just like, "You messed up, buddy," and then he was like, "Shush," and then they continued with the match.
So the finish of the match was Jungle Boy locked in. This near trap for the submission win. Submission win, and there you go. But we had a little post-match bit here. We saw Bobby Fish coming out and basically sneak attacked Jungle Boy here and completely beat the shit out of Jungle Boy here and left him to dead before Christian Cage and Luchasaurus made the save. But sticking to the Bobby Fish topic, we saw another backstage bit. Can you elaborate what happened here?
So Super Click cut a promo, and they're like, how does it feel to see Jungle Boy get his ass whooped?" And Nick Jackson does this bit from Arrested Development with the Paka thing. And Adam Cole is like, "Yeah, we did this. We want to beat Jungle Boy up so bad, but guys, let me introduce you to someone I know who did it for us, Bobby Fish." So we had like a mini Undisputed Era reunion over here. And then, of course, as to be expected, the Elite went for those references. Like Matt was talking to Bobby Fish. He's like, "I know who he is. Like, we've had a good history." And he's like, just to make it clear, there is no dispute in AEW that the Elite are the biggest faction in pro wrestling, and this is the era of the Elite and the era of Super Click. So they were just throwing in these references, and then Adam and Bobby, they had like some resolute between each other, so they were like, yeah. So what happened is, I think, yeah, it was Cole who suggested to have this match. So we are getting Bobby Fish versus Jungle Boy on Rampage tonight, which is 24 hours before the pay-per-view. And then he's like, beat him so bad and leave some for us so that we can finish the job. So the Elite is really looking to dismantle Jungle Boy like once and for all.
There you go, man. There you go. And this segment, what they did was maybe planting the seeds in the future.
For an Undisputed Era reunion. But
See, man, Kyle O'Reilly's contract is coming up on December.
yes, I can't wait for that. And I hope he comes to AEW. I don't want him to stay there anymore, which is a bit harsh for me to say, but he's not doing anything much over there, which after his proposed, big feud with Cole getting over, and it was supposed to propel him to bigger and better things in NXT, but we got NXT 2.0 instead, which really killed his push. But
There you go, man.
hear me out, okay?
Okay.
I had said in the past that I wouldn't mind a reunion of the Undisputed Era if it's like a wink wink nudge nudge thing. I would like to see Red Dragon be a thing in AEW as part of the tag ranks, but I'm not really looking forward to an Undisputed Era reunion in AEW because it was more of a WWE thing. Like, we got three wrestlers from Ring of Honor, just compile them and have them be a thing, which turned out to be one of the biggest things NXT ever did. But I hope it sticks to that. Maybe they could do a reunion if the timing is right, like if Adam Cole breaks from the Elite and if he has his own boys to face Kenny and the Bucks. But I think there's a big theory that is floating around with concerning another wrestler who has history with Cole and the Bucks. So if the way the Kenny story is going, probably they might include Kevin Steen is also reportedly finishing up with WWE in January. So they might do that, like reunite Mount Rushmore and have Kenny kicked out of the Elite and make it Mount Rushmore.
I don't know, a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah, which makes the entire ordeal great, isn't it? It's like you
It
have
does.
a lot of things to look forward to within the story. There are multiple possibilities of where this could go, and none of them will disappoint you. You know what I mean?
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, speaking about Kevin Owens, did you see that image? I'm not seeing Raw for a while now, but I think there was now he has a Titantron where it says "Keep fighting" for another
Just
3 months.
fighting. Yeah, just keep fighting. And I think there was a Fiend for Followers account who mentioned like for another 3 months. And
I don't know.
they even mentioned it on live TV that his contract might be coming up soon. So he's like, I don't. Steen was like, or Owens was like, I don't care if it's for 3 months or the next 3 years. I'm gonna, as long as I'm here, I'm gonna keep fighting. And then being Biggie, was like, just so you know, there is only one face on Monday Night Raw. This is in Mount Rushmore. So they are also openly teasing whatever the possibility is. But I really hope Kevin Steen joins AEW.
There you go, man. There you go. But that is regarding Kevin Owens. But what did we have next on Dynamite?
We had we finished with the segment between Cole and Fish. And after that, we had a tag match, which is Dante Martin and Leo Rush, the debuting Leo Rush on Dynamite versus Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty.
And just like the rest of the match, this also turned out to be a good one, man.
Yeah, this was a really good match, and which is no surprise given the talent involved, because Sydal is awesome. He deserves more credit for being an awesome wrestler. And Moriarty, they really put a lot of focus on Martin and Moriarty. So this is like something you can look forward to in the future, not the immediate future, but in future. And of course, like the main story was Jungle Boy's debut. Sorry, fuck, Leo Rush's
The tag
debut.
team's debut.
Yeah, the Leo Rush's debut in AEW in on Dynamite, rather live on Dynamite in 9 days. Where the keep the memes coming. So yeah, Leo Rush looked like a Power Ranger in this match, right, with his bodysuit.
Yeah.
And it was like a typical Leo Rush sequence where like the start of the match, he's just continuously evading the aggressor. He's like running through the ropes and then escaping him, and then trying to look for ways to jump ahead of him and just do some good lucha shit. And then we had Dante Martin. Like Dante Martin is really growing into an all-round performer in AEW, which is saying a lot, and also giving a lot of praise to him. And he's been compared, like as far as I've seen, he's been compared a lot to an early 2000 AJ Styles, which was like a freak of an athlete. So that's really saying something about Dante, where how high he can go.
And speaking about high, did you see his sunset pin he does?
Yes,
It
that's
looks like he gets higher and higher as the days goes by.
Yeah. They even did that spot on Rampage when Dante and Sydal fought for the third time. And like it was a good callback to the second match that they had where Dante was doing a sunset flip in like a view of a sunset. So that's what I'm reminded of. And he always does it. He does every move that he does it like crisp and clean for a high flyer, which is again like it's top notch stuff from Dante.
And did you hear that chant for Lee Moriarty? They did a soccer chant for Moriarty. Oh, Lee
Yeah, it was in
Moriarty.
it was in the theme of Seven Nations Army, the White Stripes song, right?
Yeah, and I think even that chant took. I think Lee Moriarty didn't even expect that. I think he stated it somewhere on social media.
Probably. They do the same chant for Zack Sabre Jr. as well.
I
Not
think
in Japan,
that's
not in Japan, but wherever else he wrestles, especially in the UK.
anyways. But regarding this match, we see Leo Rush and Dante Martin picking up the win. Dante got the win after hitting the moonsault press, and there you go, man. So I don't know. There could be a situation for a couple of weeks now. There could be a legit tag team until Darius Martin comes back. We don't know what's the status on him, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I would love to see Leo Rush and Top Flight being a trios. Like previously, we had told Leo Rush and Private Party to be a trios team. But I would love if Leo Rush partners with Top Flight and becomes a trio, which would be awesome. So much better than a probable Leo Rush and Private Party.
We'll have to wait and see. The trio, I think once they really, start establishing the fact that the trios championship are coming, then we'll see a lot of this trios forming. And that's the one you stated here is actually a great one with Leo teaming up with Top Flight.
Yes, and there are a lot of trios already, like Super Kick is there, Christian and Jurassic Express. And in the middle, we had seen Mox, Eddie, and Darby. So now it's both Mox and Eddie's situation as of now. We can't see them turning heel, and similar to Darby. So I think they're also going to be a trio for a while now. So great stuff.
But should we talk about this Wardlow and Wheeler Yuta match, or did we have something else before this match?
No, we can get into this match quick.
And I think this was a very impromptu match. Like we had 6 matches on this card,
Yes, we did.
and like there is actually no story. Like Wheeler Yuta, he has had some Dynamite appearances. I think it's been a while since we've seen Wardlow on TV, right? Wrestling.
Yes, wrestling is a good word. He's been regularly featured on Dark and Elevation every week as a wrestler. And yeah,
So this was your typical squash match here. Like Wheeler Yuta tried to get some offense, but Wardlow looked super strong. At one point, he was hitting a bunch of power bombs,
five power
and the
bombs at
crowd.
once.
How many power bombs did he hit? 5 power bombs, and the crowd chanted one more time. So it would end up multiple power bombs, and then he did your favorite finish, your favorite Wardlow finish, the knee strike in the corner, and that
I
was
don't
it
like.
for Wheeler Yuta. Dominant victory for Wardlow. I'm suspecting a big Wardlow push here for something.
They've been teasing it for some time, so you're not really sure where that is going. But let's wait and watch with where that goes, because they've sown the seeds long enough for Wardlow turning on MJF. But now I think like it's close to reaching its tipping point where they MJF has been openly deriding it for being a bit quote unquote useless, and now he has like Sean Spears to watch out for him.
Yeah, but can they do something like they did tease? Like, we thought we were going to expect Punk versus Wardlow at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean it
Now it
was
can get to
they
that.
teased it. They teased it for a while, like while Punk was just berating MJF openly on commentary. But that is to be expected from CM Punk because, well, it's CM Punk. But yeah, besides that, they didn't really do much. And the most speculations were also thanks to Tony Khan's leaked card for Full Gears. That was the reason why, you were trying to make sense out of how they are going to approach that match. But now we are in an entirely different direction.
And now I can see that match happening,
But
seeing how
on a
Wardlow
Dynamite.
will be presented.
Yeah, but on a Dynamite instead of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think that was the right decision of not giving Wardlow versus Punk. Instead, we got Kingston versus Punk, which is something else.
Oh man, So
And
yeah.
yeah, I think it's time to transition into that part. Like we had to get something from Kingston and Punk on this Dynamite. Like throughout the night, I think they showed some highlights of Rampage. They showed a good package for the pay-per-view. I think we're going to see it in the countdown to Full Gear.
Mhm.
And there was another fresh thing that they did in the parking lot. Like they were about to have this big fight. We see wrestlers and officials separating them. Like there is some intensity and some real legitimacy hit between these two guys, and it comes across your TV, which is great stuff. And that promo at Rampage was top notch. I'm really digging this.
Yeah, and to think of it, they didn't really have much time to build to this, and one promo was enough for you to sell it, which speaks volumes about the gift of gab that both of these guys have. Like Punk is a supreme talker, we all know that. But I feel this promo really helped Eddie Kingston. If you already knew how great of a promo he was, now it reached to a more casual viewer. If whoever is watching AEW just casually. So this promo from Eddie was like a highlight. It's like everyone now knows how great Eddie Kingston is, which really really warms my heart because just over this week the Eddie Kingston put out this Players Tribune article. So like every athlete, wrestler, or like wrestlers are few, but every footballer or any athlete in general, they usually post these autobiographical articles on the website. And Eddie Kingston put out his this past, I think it was Tuesday, and he was talking about his mental health struggles, how he bounced back from that, and how where is he right now, which is like an inspirational story by itself. So this has done a great job of putting Eddie Kingston over, but now on a more mainstream sense, which is awesome. And this match, like you said it right, like it comes off pretty well that they have legitimate heat, but that is the power of Eddie Kingston. Like whenever he cuts a promo, that it's real, especially when he talks about his mental health issues. He's gone on to record to say that, like, he's whatever he speaks about his mental health is for shoot. He doesn't want to work anyone on that. But there you go. That is the power of Eddie Kingston.
And about this feud with Punk, it is very strange because at one point you figure out, yes, Punk is the heel, Eddie Kingston is the babyface. And then Kingston goes into delusional mode, and that makes him the heel and Punk the organic babyface. It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's not they none of these guys are outright heels or faces. If anything, both are baby faces with valid answers. And I don't think neither one is going to turn. I hope, at least I hope not. And especially like both of them have like a bit of anti-hero casualness for both. Like both of these guys do. And at the same time, they both are also like, organic baby faces, as everyone loves them, for reasons beyond wrestling. So yeah, I mean it's a bit strange. And if you look at have you checked out Eddie's promo on Road 2?
I did see that. That was great.
It was great. Like they were teasing a bit sadistic Eddie Kingston, but that was also more into his him being trapped into his metal cage. How is he, like, he's talking about Punk, how he's so beloved, and Eddie who's fought his own battles. How has he finally got on top, and now he's not. He feels that he's not getting the same recognition he deserves. So yeah, like you said it pretty well, that none of them, like, on one hand you could see one is a heel, the other is like the baby face, and you can flip the script as well. But on a more grander scheme, none of these guys are outright heels. They are just great beloved baby faces, but with different different arcs rather.
Bro, this feud for a 2 week build is like the most exciting match on the card. If you want to exclude Hangman and Omega,
Yes,
that story is that is you could say it has been a thing. You could say long term build, but for a 2 week thing, this is absolutely great.
yes, and like I mentioned, that's the power of both of these guys, on the mic and beyond. But and this is also like one of the very unpredictable matches on the card, just like a lot of the matches. And you either whoever wins this match is going to come out on top, because Eddie's this promo from Eddie Kingston was like a rejuvenation of his chances, and everyone's expecting Punk to win as it is because of his undefeated streak so far. And neither of them are like, this is my prediction, a very minor one, that whoever loses is still going to look very, very, very strong in defeat.
Yeah, definitely. Like at this point, I think it's still unpredictable on who's going to come out as the winner. We will talk about it in the prediction as we wrap up this review. But yeah, man, really looking forward to it.
Same here, man.
But they did a similar thing with MJF and Darby Allen, like did a promo package similar to the Punk thing. I think this is also going to be part of the countdown deal. So that story is also it's been there. I think at the before the Kingston and Punk story came about, it was the second best thing going at the full gear card, but it's still good.
Yes, I mean, it is great because they're highlighting the future of the company with both MJF and Darby Allen. Because I mean, both of these are like like a half of the four pillars in AEW. So MJF, Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sami Guevara. So this is like just a highlight of that, and that has been the main story if you look at it, because MJF has been openly mentioned. All these analysts and commentators, like analysts rather, they were giving their thoughts on this. Like you had Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and then in the middle you see like a bit like MJF saying, the four pillars are canon now. And then you have Excalibur continuing his thing, open head rather.
But yeah, man, that should be a good match at the pay-per-view. But before we talk about this Dax Harwood versus Park match, did we have anything else, or should we get to it?
Yeah, we should rather get to it.
Basically, this was your main event of the night, and yet another great match, man, on the card. And I think they gave a lot extra time to this match, seeing that technically this was the main event and all.
Yes, and like there was a pre-built story to this, because I mean there are a lot of arcs all etched into one, because of course Andrade is feuding with that triangle, and like he was feuding with that triangle all this while, and now he has FTR to do his dirty work with all the money, and FTR is now feuding with Lucha Bros as well for the tag titles. So it's like all of these stories intertwining, which is great.
And this match, man, this really solid match. Crowd loved it, and at one point we even hear the crowd saying, "This is wrestling."
This is wrestling indeed. And if you've noticed, like whenever and either one of FTR members get a singles match, it's always Dax Harwood. And he's always put over as a great singles guy as well, but who happens to be an awesome tag team wrestler too. But with singles opportunities, it's always Dax Harwood, and he always knocks it out of the park.
Like he really knows. This guy really knows how to work a match. He doesn't have to do a lot of shit, but he does minimum things and he makes it look legit. That's how this guy works.
Yes, and I mentioned this before. Like whenever FTR, whenever they do their finishes, it's always the Goodnight Express or the Big Rig. And whenever, if it's one person who's picking up the win, it's always Dax Harwood. He always hits the brainbuster to pick up the victory for his team. So they are putting over Dax as a singles guy too, but he's just like a singles guy who just wrestles, who's just a worker's worker. But you couldn't have had anyone else better to pair him up with other than PAC, and PAC is a master at this. This match delivered on all fronts.
And speaking about brain buster that Park did from the top rope looked insane.
Yeah, I mean, I was scared for Dax at once, and there was at one point where Park chopped him so hard, Dax started to bleed from the chest. It
looked like he did a blade job over there. That looked insane.
Yeah, it looked gnarly to say the least.
But that's what you get when you get into the wrestling business, man. But this match, really solid. And let's talk about the finish. Like, it came out of nowhere. Like, Park, they were doing some transition. Park locks him in the brutalizer. And Harwood, he quickly decided to tap out. And commentators brought up that this was a really good decision by Harwood. As you know, he has this big tag match in a couple of days, so he decided just to submit and get out of this match. Basically, they are covering up for the finish. Like, they had to have Park win this match. So, what do you think about the finish, man?
Yeah, it was very. I mean, if that is what they're implying, it was pretty smart, because at the end of the day, this singles match between Park and Dax. Shit, I'm really messing up the pronunciations. It was largely inconsequential. If anything, it was all about, the revenge bit and FTR doing the dirty business for Andrade. So that was pretty much the context of it. And when Park locks him into the brutalizer, Dax just immediately taps out, because even if he won, it wasn't going to mean anything. He decided to preserve his energy for the big tag title match coming up instead. So I kind of like how they did that. They even teased it during the commentators, that is, they really teased it during Danielson versus Romero. And then they were like, yeah, it is not too late. It is never too late to tap out now and just preserve your energy for your match versus Miro. So I like how this was applicable in this match instead of anywhere else.
So we had a little post-match bit here. Cash Wheeler came out, and we see a 2-on-1 attack. Then we see the Lucha Bros showing up. I think we saw Cody Rhodes in there.
Cody from the crowd. The level of self-awareness is like astounding.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that, but he did that. We also saw Malachi Black and Andrade showing up, and everything led to a big brawl. And we got to a point where we were thinking about what is the deal with Cody Rhodes, what's going on with Malachi Black, Andrade, where is this thing leading towards. So I think they have announced Cody Rhodes and PAC versus Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo at the pay-per-view. So I don't think they should have done it at the pay-per-view.
Me neither. It would have been better if they did this match on Rampage instead, but I digress.
Yeah, it's just I think it's yet another scenario, like I said, with the Jericho Inner Circle American Top Team thing. It's just there to get the big names on the card.
Yeah, but Cody hasn't had a big marquee match this year, except if you want to count Anthony Ogogo. But yeah, they could have done away, because Cody didn't wrestle at Full Gear. Neither of these guys did.
All Out.
Yeah, All Out. Shit, why do I keep messing up? I'm so sorry.
That's certainly good when AEW does quarterly pay-per-views.
Yeah, probably. Like, no, it's even worse when there are monthly pay-per-views because you have to remember each and everything. But yeah, at All Out, Cody didn't wrestle, so either they are making up for that because none of these guys had wrestled at All Out, so they are just compensating for that, I guess. But it's weird. But I'm looking
Uh,
forward to this match either way because of the level of talent involved. It's just that I'm not sure if making it a tag match was the right call.
it is a very weird feud, right?
Yeah, like they've intertwined all of these stories together. That is rather, the Cody Malachi stuff and the Andrade PAC stuff. So it's now a tag team player. Because of that,
Hey, listen. So
yo,
okay, now you're doing it the pay-per-view. It's fine and all. But is it there some is will something else happen?
I mean, the Cody heel turn.
The body heel turn is one thing, but this is an AEW pay-per-view, man. We need some surprises, right?
Who are you referring to, Wyndham?
I think that that is a great spot to have Wyndham show up.
But you're referring to something else over here.
Yeah, I think you guessed it right. I am referring Wyndham here, and I think this would be a great spot if he debuts and goes after Cody.
Oh, and then Cody turns heel because of that, the hurt heel stuff.
You can do something there. I think like at the end of the day, you could give this match a little bit more importance.
Yeah.
So
Elaborate.
yeah, like the match is going to be a fine, but if you do something like a post-match bit where Wyndham shows up, attack Cody, it's going to be even better.
I think, yeah, that would make sense. But I have my thoughts about all of this. I wouldn't want to repeat it, but yeah.
And it's not like there is a 99.9% chance Wyndham definitely shows up at full gear because I think he's doing something else right now.
Yeah, as per Sean Ross Sapp, yeah. As per Sean Ross Sapp, he's been like working on his feature film in Hollywood. And this was something that I wanted from the start. Once he left WWE, I was like, yeah, he should rather work in movies than wrestle again. And if this is a thing that he keeps on doing, if he's successful at it, then why not? Great for him.
And even Tony Khan did a little mention of Wyndham on the media scrum for full gear. Like it
Yeah,
was brought up this question about Wyndham. He said that he hasn't talked a lot with Wyndham.
he hasn't
Like he
spoken since
mentioned,
for a year. Like the last time they
yeah,
met
yeah.
was at Chris Jericho's birthday party, and this is an answer he's been giving for a while. Like even before this, he appeared on the Busted Open Radio, I think, and he had the same answer there, and I think in a few interviews before too. So yeah,
So
take it for what you can.
there is a chance Wyndham shows up, and if he doesn't show up, then we know all the reasons why he didn't.
Right.
But anyways, man, this match with this random tag match should be good. It's not going to be great because the bar is high in terms of what match will steal the show for this paper.
Easily.
But I think we have covered everything, man, regarding
And there is
Dynamite.
one thing we
Or
forgot actually. It
before
was
we
a
head
yeah,
towards the contract sign.
yes, it is the Miro promo.
Yes,
He's like Danielson. I want like he's like, do you know me? Do you know my God? I'm trying to like, do you know whether I have enmity with my God? And then he's like, he wants to go home in pride to his wife. And he's like, say goodbye to your wife and say hello to mine. But there you go. There was nothing much besides that.
really great, man. And this Miro character is so good that I heard Jim Cornette falling in love with this current Miro character.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, this is great, man. This is great stuff.
Yeah, this is probably his best iteration ever, even when he was doing his, the Russian hero and then the Rusev Day stuff and to now. We can unanimously agree the best man stuff wasn't that great, but this Redeemer character has brought a new life, and this is some of the best work that he's ever done.
And yeah, I'm even pretty excited for his match with Danielson. We'll do the prediction later on. And I think there is a guy who has to win this match, in my opinion. We'll get to it when we get to the prediction. But should we get to the contract signing? Oh wait, I think we had this thing where they kind of hyped up the Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander match with a bunch of promos.
Yes, they had some interaction on Dark while Chris Statlander was trying to save Ruby Soho. And that's that. And then Ruby's like, Chris, I respect you. I know you're a terrific worker, and like you've helped me through my early days in AEW, fending off various people. But now when it comes for you one-on-one, respect don't mean shit. And then Chris was just being nice about it. Hi, I'm Chris Statlander. I'm Galaxy's greatest alien. Nice to meet you. That's it.
That was a very underwhelming line from Chris.
Yes.
But anyways, man, at least they are putting in the efforts to make this match mean something, and this promo packages are getting more time than the Queen's Crown tournament. Another dig at that set tournament. But moving on,
we're gonna have a comment section flooded with, hey, how can you do that?
Yeah, fuck the drones. Let's talk about the contract signing between Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. This is for their upcoming World Championship match. This whole segment overall was good, but still, man, it looked like a typical WWE contract signing. What did you think?
Yeah, it did. Like the barbs that they exchanged with each other was great because there was like a lot of history to this, and that's what they were referring to. But the end sequence was very WWE, like the ending of it. So you were really spot on with that.
And like I think there was this one great line. Like it was a good back and forth. Kenny also came out really good on the mic, which is great. And like this one shot that Hangman took at Kenny, like didn't you had another tag team partner where you had something like that? It was basically a shot like
Bushi, like you thought that you would be better than him, and you went at every length to make yourself better than him. So that was like a good line from Hangman. And then Kenny was like, I see myself in you. That's the reason why I tried to stay away from you, because I didn't want to remind myself of failure. You are a failure, basically.
And he brought up something that Kenny said to Hangman after their match at last year's Full Gear.
Yeah, and then like when Kenny defeated Hangman, he just takes his hands like, "Good job, Hangman." That stuck with me for so long because I was always reminded of how much of a failure I've been all this life, and it took years of courage to finally stand up for myself, and here I am challenging for your title.
But as both men signed their contracts, I think Kenny Omega wanted to do a mutual handshake with Hangman, and this was actually somewhat of distraction as we see this weird cameraman showing up, and he attacked Hangman with the camera, and it was revealed to be Don Callis. And before this segment started, I was actually wanting for some Don Callis. I actually missed him on TV. So he finally made his presence. And
I feel it's a bit too late for it, because if it's according to what everyone is predicting, because Don Callis kind of added that oomph to Kenny's title run. He was his manager. He used to put Kenny over, and Kenny can speak for himself, great. But that additional amount of dickheadness that Don Callis used to bring, that was sorely missed, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he was missing for at least 50%. He rarely showed up on Dynamite before All Out came about.
After rather, I think he was there for a while. Because after all that, we had Danielson versus Kenny, that 30-minute match.
Yeah,
And
basically what I'm saying is he didn't show up regularly on
hmm,
TV.
yes, I think he was really missing once Hangman won the #1 contendership for the championship match.
So, and that's what makes the Kenny Omega title run a little incomplete, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And but overall, it was good. Like, I think Kenny going into the pay-per-view is a full solid heel now, and people want to see the Hangman win the championship. So, good story.
Great story, rather. This is
Yeah,
what they've
and
been wanting for so long. We're finally at the cusp of it, but all I'm hoping is please don't fuck it up.
we will get to that. We'll do the prediction bit. But I think, can you point out what Don Callis stated in the little promo he did after Hangman got busted open with the camera and stuff?
I don't exactly remember what he said. He's like, well, something like, I don't know, it was some
He
reference.
said something like, "Is this the guy that you want to be want to see become world champion? He's not even ready yet." Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then
And
Hangman is busted open with the camera shot, and then Kenny signs the contract on Hangman's behalf with his own blood. I think the one that reminds me of it is Hogan versus Vince McMahon at for Mania 19 2003. They were having their own feud, and that was a very good feud, by the way. Like with the power of hindsight, because
yeah,
they were
they
talking
did that
about
iconic promo.
yeah, if you actually think I was just the right guy at the right place, and then he's like, let me try that one more time, brother. And then, yeah, like with the hindsight, the story made a lot more sense because like Vince thought that he was responsible for Hulkamania and how Hogan thought he was responsible for WWE's boom period. So it was a good story itself. So that was great. So yeah, like I
But
remember
regarding
that
this,
the blood, yeah.
but regarding this bit, the 2 year thing they have done, it is good. But still, man, I feel that the Kenny title run, there is something that are missing.
Yeah. It could have been a lot better than it was, but I don't have any major complaints about his title reign, to be honest with you.
We'll talk in more in depth about it as we get to the prediction. But I think we covered the Dynamite bit top to bottom. Are we missing anything?
I don't think we are.
So I think it's time we get into the prediction part for full year. Do you have the card in front of you?
Yes, sir, I do.
I think they also announced a match for the kickoff. I think it's regarding involving the women, I guess.
Yes. So the pre-show match is Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa. This is in build up to their respective TBS title tournament matches. Who have we got and why?
Babyface is going over.
Me too, just to keep the crowd hot for the start.
What else do we have on the main card side?
Okay, so I'll get into like it's in no particular order. So I feel this is going to start the card. So I'll go for it anyway. It's Bryan Danielson versus Miro for the AEW World Championship Eliminator Final. Who have we got and why?
Miro for the win.
Me too.
Yeah, Danielson is undefeated. He takes this loss against Miro. It won't hurt a lot, I guess.
Yes, and given what the original plan was for Moxley to come out on top, and then turning heel and then beating the shit out of possibly whoever wins, because Mox had story with both of these guys has done. So I'm also going for Miro because he'll make a great challenger. If Hangman wins, he's going to make a great challenger for like being the first in line to face Hangman for the title. And if Kenny wins, there is like a lot of the god complex between both of these guys, so it's going to be a great feud nonetheless. So yeah,
Yeah.
even
So
I'm going for Miro.
yeah, the outcome of this match will decide the what's going to happen later on in the main event.
You could say that
Possibly.
it's like, yeah, it's like a butterfly effect of sorts, because from this and beyond this to probably a year or two later, so this match is going to have a major cause on what happens in future AEW programming.
And you mentioned Moxley here. It took me a while back then to realize what's the scenario with this finals and who's going to face for the championship. And then I realized that Moxley was going through this heel turn. If Moxley was in this scenario still, I would have still picked him going over
Me too.
winning this tournament.
Yeah, even I was predicting Moxley from the start, because especially after, like, this tournament came about after Tony Khan leaked the card. So there was like a clear match that what they were alluding to, and given what we know now, here we are.
But yeah, we pick Miro here. Let's talk about this Minneapolis, or is it a Minnesota straight fight?
Uh, I mean, it's called Minneapolis Street Fight, but Minneapolis is in Minnesota, so you're not wrong on either front. So we have the inner circle. That's Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz, versus the Men of the Year. That's Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and American Top Team, which is Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arlovsky, and Dan Lambert. Who have you got and why?
Inner Circle getting the win. That's the payoff, right? They have to kick Dan Lambert's ass.
Yes, I'm also going for Inner Circle, because I mean the story writes itself. I mean, if the Men of the Year win, fine, because that'll get a lot of eyes on this. But I don't expect AEW to do that stuff for just a few, mainstream buzz. But if the story is really about the Inner Circle being together, so I'm picking Inner Circle as well.
And if the story continues, then you could go for the heels getting the victory.
I hope they don't, because the heels have already gotten the win like twice or thrice now. Because there was that one tag match, Man of the Year was Jericho and Hager at Arthur Ashe, and then they had the 6-man tag where with Sammy Guevara and Junior Dos Santos getting involved. So we had that as well, and both the times American Top Team / Man of the Year came on top.
I think there's a chance that Jorge Masvidal gets involved, right?
Yeah, I mean
Moving on.
he has to get involved, because it's a no DQ match. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
But yeah, but still I'm picking Inner Circle to get the victory here. We'll see what happens. Does that Jorge Masvidal thing does continue? Maybe a singles match with Jericho, God knows.
Yeah, probably they could do that, but yeah, I thought it would. I thought Masvidal would be involved in this pay-per-view, because I mean there are no rules, and Jericho wanted to settle some scores with him after repeatedly getting kneed into the face.
But moving on, we have another stipulation match. This is a Falls Count Anywhere. This is the Super Click, Adam Cole, Payday, and the Young Bucks facing Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage. Who you got?
This is tough. Okay, like either one of these teams can win. I'll mention the reasons in a while, but that's what makes this whole thing great, because if you want the Super Click to win, because obviously you have Adam Cole's momentum going on, like he's on a hot streak, and the Bucks are also like leaning into their more aggressive sides. So both, like, and it's mainly about Adam Cole if I were to pick the Super Click, but at the same time you want to put the babyface come out on top to not make them look like idiots, because even they've been showing their aggressive sides, and so far in this feud, they are the ones who kept getting punked out by the Super Click on every moment, except for that one when Christian Concerto Adam. This is tough. I would say I'll go for the baby faces this time. What about you?
I think now we'll go with the babyface team to get the victory, because if I'm not wrong, Super Click won their last match at
Yeah,
Arthur Ashe, right?
yeah, they had a
So
6-man tag on on Rampage.
Yeah, so technically, I think we should give the victory to the baby faces here.
Yeah, even I feel they should. And yeah,
So,
it's like a lot. There are a lot more possibilities if the baby faces win, because they can also get their singles revenges later on. But yeah, I'm going for the baby faces.
so yeah, man. But this match should be insane, I guess. Seeing the stipulation.
Yeah, I mean, it really takes the oomph away from the Minneapolis street fight, but I feel it's for the better because the Men of the Year feud isn't that interesting. This is like a lot more heated, and the promos have been top notch by both of these sides.
But moving on, we have the AEW Women's Championship match. This is Dr. Britt Baker DMD facing Ty Conti. The build to this match is very similar to Statlander, the match with Statlander and Baker at the last pay-per-view. No actual excitement. The last match of the pay-per-view turned out to be good, so expecting the same thing over here, but nothing much in terms of build.
Hmm. Yes. Who have you gotten by?
Britt Baker retaining,
Easy. Same here. Because I mean, there
but
is
there
no
is a very
other.
weird possibility that Ty Conti gets the win, but there's no build, man.
Yeah, it was just like she was just announced as the number one contender, and then they had this Twitter feud about each other's, what. And besides that, there's nothing much. They had few matches, and that's that. That's the entire build to this, which is very. But it's okay. Like, you can just let that slide. And it's easy picking for Britt Baker because, again, later on, she has like a bigger fish to fry with probably Thunder Rosa or whoever else comes forth. Because I feel that this is the time her title reign is finally picking up, or it has already after the Statlander match. Like it is finally on the up, but not by much.
So we both are selecting Britt Baker to retain her championship, but the situation with the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So this is the Lucha Bros facing FTR. Another weird possibility of FTR winning the tag team championships here, but they already have beaten the Lucha Bros here, so that's another, it makes this whole matchup even more unpredictable, in my opinion.
Yes, you don't want to 50-50 most of these matches. But I'm going for Lucha Bros because I mean they haven't really done much with the titles, and I expect them to keep it for a little longer. But at the same time, like they had, yeah, like I said, they haven't really done much with after winning the championship from the Young Bucks at All Out, and it was just there. They had few title matches, and besides that, there's nothing really memorable. So probably this is what they are building on to this match with FTR, and moving on to bigger and better things from here.
Um, that's a very valid reason for Lucha Bros retaining. That they should get more big wins for this title run. But I'm picking FTR, man.
Oh, this is the first
Because
one we would differ on so far.
yeah, because I don't think there's actually another top heel tag team that is that can take the titles of a tag team like Lucha Bros. I think FTR is a great fit. So
And
on
it
that
also
note,
it also makes sense because FTR lost the titles at Full Gear last year, and they didn't even get their rematch.
so I don't want Lucha Bros to lose, but in terms of prediction, I'm picking FTR to get the tag team championships back.
Should be interesting. I mean, I would say this is the match I'm most looking forward to simply because of my love for tag team wrestling, and I can't wait for this.
Yeah. Like I said previously, the bar is too high for match of the night contenders.
Yep.
But yeah, man, this match should be great. Let's talk about Park and Cody Rhodes facing Andrade El Idolo and
Iglo.
Malachi Black. So I would say get the heel team the victory, Malachi and Andrade.
I'm also going for the heel team because I mean there is a
Yeah,
bigger fish to fry for Cody. So, and the heels are exactly there to exploit that, and you don't want to see them lose yet, especially Malachi not to lose again to Cody. At the same time, it'll not really mean something for Andrade as well if he loses again because he's already lost like once or twice in AEW so far.
and I still have this strange feeling about Malachi getting involved with Andrade. I think he should still be his own entity, a loner, if you will.
He will be a loner beyond this. I don't think this association is going to last longer after this because it's like you're the enemy of my enemy is my
My
friend.
enemy.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So that's what essentially the partnership of Cody and Park is. So
Yeah. So, like I said, we are picking the heels here to go over. And I did that weird prediction early on of Wyndham showing up. So, this could be a great scenario. Who knows?
yeah,
But let's talk about CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. The second, I don't know, it's still a debate. One of the most, awaited match on the pay-per-view card. I'm picking Punk to get the victory.
it's a more safer pick, but uh, I might go for Eddie this time because the story, like if Eddie wins, it couldn't be any better for CM Punk to take his first loss from. And it really puts Eddie over a lot, like as this huge credible threat. And if he loses, it's going to be a Lance Archer situation who's going to be dominant against anyone else, but the pseudo jobbers to the stars thing. And I don't want Eddie Kingston in that purgatory. So it's only fair if he because I feel like this is a very wild prediction from me. He's going to become a world champion, but as somewhere like 2-3 years from now, or perhaps two. I'll keep it at
Or
that.
at least next year.
Next year, probably, but I feel it's a bit too soon for that. But I would love if it does. So
At
you want
this
to,
at
yeah,
this point, at this point, he is at least the next three world champion in that line.
yeah, possibly. So I feel that this should be the start of that. And if Punk loses, it's okay. He should because you don't want to keep his undefeated streak going for as long as it does and just panic on who else can he lose to. And there is like a quote unquote real life feud ingrained into it. So there is like legitimate, it looks like a legitimate heat. It's a work shoot basically. So I'm going for Eddie Kingston. I mean, I would be fine whoever wins, but yeah, I'm picking Eddie.
And I'm picking CM Punk here because yeah, that Eddie thing giving Eddie Kingston a victory would be great, but depends. Or is there someone else on that roster who should be the one to have to beat to be the first guy in AEW to beat Punk?
I mean, there are a few candidates who are mostly at the upper mid card, but yeah, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
However, if this result is Punk winning,
So I'm picking Punk, you're picking Kingston, but moving on. MJF versus Darby Allen. I'm picking MJF because I think this win is what builds his momentum. Because hands down, he's the next guy to actually get the AEW World Championship after what happens with Omega and Page.
same here. For the same reasons, I'm not going to repeat it. MJF.
Yeah, like I think with the story and stuff, Darby Allen will be still hot. Like it's not going to hurt. Like he already took a big loss with Punk. He's still the biggest act in the company. and at another, high profile match here on the full gear card. So yeah, he should be fine.
Yeah, he'll be okay. And if anything, Darby is going to look like a beast if he loses. When he loses depends, because he's going to be over regardless. His loss is not going to hurt him. And whereas with MJF, he's the, like you mentioned, he's next in line for being the AEW World Champion, depending on what the outcome of the main event is.
And speaking about the main event, shall we get to it, or are we forgetting something else?
Just hold on. Yeah, we've covered all.
So the AEW World Championship match, Kenny Omega defending the belt against Adam Hangman Page. We got
Hangman. The story deserves its rightful conclusion, and it better be Hangman based on the story that they've been telling us for the past 2.5 years, or perhaps more, depending, like from the start of AEW, because he's always alluded to the fact that he promised everyone that he'll be the first AEW World Champion, and not keeping up that promise has eaten him alive all this while. And then that he descended into his drinking problems and his depression and anxiety. And now, like, ever since returning back from his paternal leave, this is like the best version we've ever seen of Hangman. And he's finally got his confidence back. So yeah, it has to be Hangman winning. I don't see it any other way. What about you?
yeah, even I'm taking Hangman to finally get the big payoff of that him beating Omega for the World Championship. I'm picking Hangman Page for that reason, but still, man, I think I mentioned it earlier on. The Kenny Omega World Title run has been good for a year now, but still, man, there is
Almost a year.
something missing from it.
Like, it's December 2nd will be an official year since Kenny won the championship.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, the title run has been good with all these great matches. It's had a bunch of here and there. I'm talking about him in AEW, but still there is something missing about his title reign. I don't know what.
Yeah, like a little bit of that pizzazz is missing. And yeah, like, people have alluded to him being a bit goofy and less of the seriousness. I don't think that's the case, because that's basically Kenny Omega. He's like, when the big match comes, he's just at his highly focused self, being the best wrestler in the world that he is. And when it comes to like slightly lower card stuff, he's a bit goofy, and it's okay. That's basically, like I mentioned, that's basically Kenny Omega's character. He's the god of pro wrestling, but when it's someone at the lower level than him, he just tends to take it easy, and then he gets paid off for it, but he still comes out on top.
Yeah, he has done. I think he has done a good job for this title run.
Yeah, I mean, of the three title runs in AW, the world title runs, which has been your favorite?
You are asking me which is the best title run? I think like Jericho was a really good champion, very important to the company. Moxley, you could say, in a weird way, was the workhorse, like going through those pandemic shows, and he actually came off as a top star. And
this was the best Moxley title run, I mean, in his career ever, because he was briefly WWE champion. He was also like US heavyweight champion in New Japan and also in WWE. His WWE title reign left a lot to be desired. It was more to the creative than him. And in like the US heavyweight championship run was, I thought the first one was fantastic. The second one was hurt because of the pandemic, but after, when things became a bit normal, he got better with things. But this AEW world title run, he said that he felt that it was his best reign ever, and there's no argument to that, because that was the best version of John Moxley as the quote unquote kingpin, as what he was named in WWE, ironically.
And Omega's title run, I think, has been even better compared to
Hmm.
Moxley and Jericho,
Yes.
because he got to be the Kenny Omega best wrestler in the world guy. But the missing part was couldn't really establish a lot as a main event, as the top, I
Hmm.
guess.
Probably. But yeah, even I'd say like yeah, each title reign was different for its for what the situation was. But I feel Kenny's title reign has been like largely great. Like you mentioned, there are a few missing pieces, but it's fine. You can overlook it for a little while, but it's still going to bother you.
Yeah, I think let's see what our feeling is going to be when if he drops the title at the pay-per-view. But speaking about the prediction and stuff, there could be a weird thing where they don't give Hangman the belt at the pay-per-view, which is actually a risk in my opinion.
So it is a huge risk because
Yeah,
like
I think listen.
yeah.
I think they go the Luis Dangur part where loses at the pay-per-view, and there is a Virginia show like that's happening. That's basically Hangman's hometown, right?
Hmm.
You could do that match over there and have Hangman win at the in his own hometown the World Championship. That's good, but it doesn't feel very AEW-ish. It's more
Yeah.
of a WWE move.
No, if it was a WWE thing, he would lose again in his hometown. So yeah. But though even Bully Ray said that Kenny should win because of the heat. I'm like, fuck you guys. This is a story that's going on forever, and it's high time it deserves its rightful payoff. Why not just let us have it and not, do the WWE thing? Like they book from week to week. Just don't keep it to that.
Yeah, it's a right time, right situation type of scenario. So
Yes,
now
and
you have the opportunity, just pull the trigger, I guess.
yes, and he's gonna return to his hometown as his rightful champion, as something that he promised to all his fans, and no better way to celebrate his title win in front of his own people.
Bro, just imagine if that doesn't happen. The Twitter is going to be wild for the next 24 hours after
Yeah.
the pay-per-view is done.
Yes, and they'll burn Tony Khan's effigies on the street.
Yeah, it's in technicality that's I don't know. Just give the title to Hangman, I guess.
Yeah, it's high time.
Yeah. So those were our predictions, man. Pretty exciting card. Really looking forward to.
Yeah, can't wait for the show, man. So, like this weekend, okay, like Saturday, Sunday, I mean, for any wrestling fan in India who also happens to watch cricket, it's a big time to look forward to, and yeah, should be good.
But before we leave, I can you guys find.
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at rid_aman. And if you're watching this in video form, you can see it somewhere in the bottom corners.
And you can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamHubW, Instagram at SlamHub Wrestling. Catch this review on Anchor and Spotify as well. This was the AEW Dynamite review, and see you guys next time.
Ciao.